Hello friends. Well, since I gave you a video of what my Mossberg 930 looks like after I just ridiculously shoot it and not do any maintenance to it, I thought I'd give you one on what it looks like for my normal weekend shoot, which is 100 rounds. Normally I go out to the range and I shoot 4 boxes of shells, 100 rounds, and then I go off and do something else. 100 rounds for me is just about average on my trip to any range, whether I'm shooting pistol, shotgun, rifle. If I'm shooting less than 100 rounds, I don't think I'm doing myself any good. Exception on that would be some long range stuff. You know, 100 rounds of 30-06 or 308 out of a bolt action gun gets a little tough on those shoulder, but I'm not as tough as I used to be either. But most of the time, 100 rounds is a good day at the range for me. And for the shotgun stuff, that's about really my typical. That's my max. Sometimes I'll go out there and I might shoot 2 extra, 150 rounds, depending on what we're doing out there, how the weather is, how I'm shooting. I've got a point in it because I'm not, by no means am I a great shotgun shooter at these clay sports. I'm getting better, and it's a little frustrating when I started because I was like, wow, I can hit birds, like actual flappy birds, like doves, more consistently than I can hit these little clay targets, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then finally, I got some coaching by some smart guys, and I started figuring out the games a little bit more on where my hold points were and break points and kind of what I needed to do with the shotgun to hit those little clay targets. And it's a little bit different than what you do to hit a bird on the wing. Now, some of it applies definitely to a bird on the wing, but it's definitely a different game, and you really need a different gun. I'm still shooting a regular those guys call a field gun, and the guns that are specifically made for those clay sports, they do make a difference. I've borrowed them on the range before, and I can see how it makes it easier. Now, I haven't shot any better with their guns because I haven't shot them enough, because how you mount the gun and all that plays into it. But we're not going to get into clay sports too much. Sorry, I got off on chasing a bunny there. But anyway, this is what the old Mossberg 930 kind of looks like after a typical day of shooting with me, which is, again, this gun's had 100 rounds put through it since I cleaned it last. And we're not going to get into the cleaning of it. We're just going to get in to what she looked like. Yep, she's clear. So, let's get into it. Start tearing down. You remember how yucky it was last time? If you watched the last video, if you didn't, hey, go back and see it. Follow my timeline or go down to the other videos on the channel. I'll throw this over there. Alright, so remember how yucky that was last time? You can already tell it's not near as grimy and grody and got carbon everywhere on it. Remember how I struggled getting that off? How that just kind of pulled right on out of there. So much easier. And then here we go, get another look here. Definitely a whole lot of difference on there. It's just not as, as cruddy as it was. And here we go. Remember this guy that I just had to soak and bang and tap on and do all kind of weird stuff to get it to come off? Look at there. Just slides right on off like nothing. like butter. That's because it doesn't have all that crazy carbon buildup on it that it did. Still got some carbon. As you can see, my fingers are already getting dirty, but remember how nasty my hands was at this point already last time? Anyway, that just slides off the gas piston. That comes off. There we go. That comes off like a champ. It's not all grody and grimy and yuck. Look here. Still dirty, but doesn't have all of that crud that was on there before. So that's what 100 rounds look like. So the gun's still pretty dirty. I mean, look at my hand here. And that was loose again. I'll do something better to tighten that. That may just be on me from my last time I assembled it. Still gets kind of dirty and grimy, and that's typical. This is what a typical day on the range does to your gas-operated shotgun, like a Mossberg 930. So, I got a little work to do. Got to break out my cleaning compounds and my cleaning kit. Give the gun a quick wipe down. I'm not going to go crazy in depth with it. I've already done that after I got it ridiculously dirty, and y'all seen that. So I took it down to nothing. You know, I took all these parts out of it that I could, right down to the trigger mechanism. I didn't disassemble the trigger mechanism fully. It didn't need it, but you can get in there and clean it pretty good with that Hornady One-Shot and get all that out of there. What I'll do is I'll clean the gun, just give it a good wipe down. I'll take the gas rings off, scrape any carbon buildup off the gas rings, get them all cleaned up, and then I put a nice light coat of lubricant on it, set it up overnight, and then I might take it apart again before I go out and shoot and wipe off that lubricant, because it does keep working. Those cleaning, that CLP, cleaner lubricating preservatives, it does continue working on there. And then normally I run a Hornady One-Shot on there because it's a dry lube, and for the gas guns, it tends to get less gummy quicker. Does that make sense? Less gummy quicker. Doesn't gum up as quick as it does with like a CLP and oil on there. Those dry lubricants work pretty good on those gas operated guns like the Mossberg 930 and any others, really. It doesn't have to be the Mossberg. Just the gas operated shotguns. They like those dry lubes. So anyway, now you've seen what the gun looks like at a typical day and what it looks like after being ridiculous. Now again, remember, I was off. I left the whole day of shooting out. I forgot about 450 rounds is what I put out of that gun before I cleaned it, and way too much to ask of the gun, and y'all saw that, how it was all stuck together. Gun run fine at the range. I didn't. I had a terrible day shooting. But anyway, did shoot a rattlesnake with my 9mm that day, but that was different. I'm a much better pistol shot than I am a shotgun shot at that game anyway. So remember, as always, live free, and y'all have fun out there.